Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal and happy Sunday, October 29th of 2023. Now I have been doing a lot of cool reading on a couple of books that have had a pretty big impact on me. One of them is a book by Dr. David Sinclair called Lifespan. Now, this is not a brand new book, but this is a book that I'm almost done reading, and it talks about human longevity in ways that we know we can do to improve our health. But what he believes in studies is that we don't have to age the way we age, especially. And I think that as human beings, we're always trying to stop the clock, right? We're always trying to have less gray hair, less wrinkles, less body fat, less pain in our joints, and to keep our mobility and keep our vitality and keep our health as we get older. And so what I've actually, I put in a couple of searches for what are some things that people are doing to improve their longevity. And I compiled a quick list here that I'm just going to share with you and give you my take on them. So the number one thing that people are starting to pay attention to, and these are trends in something that's called biohacking. And about 10 years ago, I was at a conference, a little bit of a mastermind that was very carefully curated, and I got to meet the guy who founded Bulletproof Coffee. His name is Dave Asprey. He was there and in this group, and we were all learning different things in the health realm, and one of his new books had just come out. His Bulletproof Coffee was just starting to gain traction, and he is probably very well known, best known as being a biohacker, which means how do I hack my human biology to make myself feel and look younger, to be healthier, have more vitality, all of those things, right? So this is a quick list that I kind of compiled on things that people are doing to hack their biology. And I think it's kind of it's a cool thing to look at these different things and do our best to incorporate the things that feel right for us in our quest to be healthy, happy human beings, thriving on this planet. I think that's always been the goal. Nobody wants to get to the end of their life and have a super healthy body, but have a brain that's not functioning right. Or no one, or the opposite. Nobody wants to have a super functioning brain and your mental skills are totally on point, but then your body has broken down due to aging and lifestyle factors and all of that. So let me go through this list really quick. I would love to know what you think right off the top of this. Is biohacking something you love? Is it something you've heard of? Is it a term you think is ridiculous? We just can go through this life doing the best we can. We're a little bit of a victim, or we're just, we have to, our genes present to us either sicknesses or diseases. Can we turn them off and turn them on? Or are we just, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I think this is a really big topic that's been trending for a super long time. And I think it's come to the point for me where I feel like there's a lot of things that I can do to keep my vitality. And this book by David Sinclair has made a really big difference in the way that I think about aging. Because he looks at aging as a disease, which is could be triggering for some people, right? So I would say if you've not read that book, it's an interesting read. And some of you might have actually seen some of his interviews, some of his podcast clips and stuff. He's got a very compelling argument for what he believes is a disease. It's very compelling. So the first thing that I wrote on this list that tends to be a biohacker's thought process is what's called nootropics. And this, after I met Dave Asprey and after I started really looking into different biohacking things, I find the whole topic very fascinating. It was very shortly after that I started working on formulating my Brain Glow, which I would consider to be an herbal nootropic. So here's how they describe a nootropic. They're sometimes called smart drugs. They're substances designed which are basically to improve cognitive function. They range from natural substances like caffeine and ginkgo biloba to some synthetic compounds. The substances are believed to enhance memory, creativity, motivation, and other aspects of cognitive function. While some swear by their benefits, it's important to approach nootropics with a certain amount of caution, which I would say that's true. Like I think you can way overdo caffeine. I think you can. I think you just have to be really smart and do your due diligence when it comes to looking at a nootropic, something to improve cognitive function. But I think that is at the top. That's, to me, from all the research I did, this is almost at the top of every biohacker's list, is something to help with brain function. Now, another thing that is gained a ton of popularity is cold and heat therapy. Now, think about cold plunging or sitting in an ice bath, cold plunging, right? And again, this Wim Hof is very well known. In fact, he's called the Iceman. And for a very good reason, our body and its immune system responds when we're exposed to very cold temperatures. Now, you don't need long periods of sitting in a cold bath or having a cold shower pound on you, especially if the water is very cold. And I've dipped in and out of this because, as modern humans, I think we like our creature comforts. We like to be warm. We like to bundle up. What I have been doing lately for my evening walks, though, and it's kind of gotten a little bit chillier here in Utah, is I'll go out without my jacket. I'll just go with my t-shirt and I'll work up still a good little sweat, but my skin still stays cold. And this is something I actually picked up from this David Sinclair, who talks about increasing our lifespan without the whole aging thing, is that we need to be exposed to cold, and not for long periods of time. We don't want to get our core body temperature so low that it's dangerous, but to be exposed to cold is what actually helps us stay stronger when we're exposed to stress. And cold is stressful on the body, and it actually helps to improve our immune system. In fact, let me read what I wrote here. Immersing oneself in cold water or taking cold showers is believed to boost metabolism, reduce inflammation, and improve mental clarity. I will tell you a quick story here. So when me and my husband went on our honeymoon, this was 24 years ago, we were lucky enough to go with a small group of people and do a tour through the Greek islands. It was 2 weeks. We had this really small boat that there were only 18 people on the boat. It had its own little galley and kitchen, and we sailed island to island. It was an amazing trip. But there was one shower for all of the people on the boat, and there was something wrong with the hot water. So I didn't get any hot shower during that whole time. So in order to literally wash my hair and get clean, and everyone had to deal with this too, we had to take a cold shower, and they were very, very quick. But I will tell you, anytime I've been forced to take a cold shower, when it's all done and I'm dried off and I'm, bundled up again, I feel amazing. I feel like $1,000,000. My mental clarity, my energy levels, everything about the way I feel after I've had a cold shower, even just for a few minutes. And sometimes when you're in a cold shower and it's the only option you have, it's going to be quick for the most part. So I would say that all of those things, from my experience having cold showers, which is minimal, we only do things usually unless we're forced to. But to me, I will tell you 100%, I felt amazing every single time I've ever experienced a cold shower. So that one to me is perfect. Now the next one I wrote on this list are infrared saunas. Now the reason that these are popular is because you don't have to have the temperatures quite so hot to get the same results of detoxification and sweating that you would get from a sauna. Infrared acts differently. So unlike traditional saunas, infrared saunas use infrared light to penetrate the skin and heat the body directly. This offers a more intense sweat at a lower temperature. The benefits include detoxification, relaxation, improved circulation, and skin purification. I actually had an infrared sauna in my house for 10 years, and the heating element just recently gave out. So I am in the process of acquiring a new infrared sauna because this was something that I enjoyed not as often as I should have, but often enough to really understand the benefits. especially the way it made me feel as far as the detoxification and the way it made my skin feel. And the relaxation, 100%. Now, the fourth one on this list, and I only have 10, but the fourth one on this list, this to me is really, really important. In fact, I am getting to the mindset that I would put this almost at the top of number one, and this is intermittent fasting along with fasting. Now, the reason I say this is because we never stress our bodies and go without food. Human beings throughout almost all of the history of human beings have had lack of food, lack of too much, like we have too much food. And this is like the first time the last couple hundred years for people in the Western world especially, we are eating from the moment we get up to the moment we go to bed. And intermittent fasting is something that I personally have kind of dipped in and out of. I haven't stayed with it consistently for long, long periods of time. But as I am looking more into the longevity and the anti-aging benefits of only doing 2 meals a day, like lunch and dinner, or doing, say, breakfast and lunch and skipping dinner. It seems easier when I do this to skip breakfast, because then you just basically flow from sleep into still fasting until you have that midday meal. And then not eating after, say, 6 or 7. So if you eat at, I have a 6-hour window. And then what I'll do, and I do this on a fairly regular basis, where I will actually do a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, and sometimes I'll even do 3 or 4 days of fasting. I try to do that every quarter. I don't, it takes a little bit of discipline and a little bit of preparation to say, to get ready to do a fast where you're just going to not eat and you're just going to do liquids that are going to keep you in a state called autophagy. And autophagy is a place your body gets where it's basically cell death, where you go in and your body cleans up. It cleans up out old cancer cells. It cleans out old viruses. It literally goes through a cleanup. In fact, one of the things that I just found out as I was doing this research, especially on fasting and autophagy, is that sometimes there's the floaters in your eyes, and I've had these since I was a little girl. That this is one of the ways naturally is by fasting to clean those floaters up. And I will tell you, I still have them as an adult, but they are much, much less when I am eating less. And I'm not saying don't get all the nutrients you need, the proteins and the plants and all the right nutrients. And I'm not saying for people who have trouble gaining weight to do fasting. This can be a very nuanced thing, and every person is a little bit different. But from all the research I've done, that when you stress your body with things like cold, things like, fasting, you're actually making yourself stronger. So if fasting is something you've never done, I would really suggest that you kind of educate yourself and dip into it slowly. Because some people shouldn't be fasting. If you're a diabetic, you don't have that under control. If you have health issues, everyone's a little bit different. And so you need to go in with a lot of education and possibly even be guided. Someone needs to give you some guided fasting. But to me, that's going to be one of the biggest things. Sleep optimization. Isn't that funny that is considered a biohacking thing? So this is what I wrote down. Quality sleep is crucial for cognitive function, mood regulation, and overall health. Biohackers use various tools from wearable tech to specialized lighting to track and optimize their sleep patterns. Now, I know people, and I have close friends who actually will track their sleep patterns, and they'll track how many minutes or hours of REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, do you actually get. And that's not something I've ever been drawn to, but I think it's a cool tool if it's something that interests you. I pretty much know when I get a good amount of sleep or I'm having trouble shutting my brain off. I will tell you, by adding magnesium to my supplement routine a few years ago, that made a huge difference for me in my ability to just have that really deep, good sleep. Magnesium made a big difference for me. Okay, now another one on here is grounding or earthing. This one seems like a no-brainer. standing on the ground, getting your feet on the earth. This literally magnetically grounds us to Mother Nature. And it's one thing to get out, go for a walk, go for a hike, but it's another thing to stand in bare feet on the ground. This is so important. In fact, here's what I wrote. Grounding or earthing involves direct skin contact with the surface of the earth, like walking barefoot on grass or sand. The idea is that this contact balances the electric charge in our body, reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. So, I actually have, because I can't do it every day, especially in the winter, it gets very difficult because if I have a yard full of snow, I can't stand on the grass because my yard is full of snow. But I do have a grounding mat that I sleep on. And it's just a very thin mat that actually plugs into the wall, and it's underneath the fitted sheet. There's a very good movie I watched a few years ago called The Grounding Movie. And I believe you can watch it free on YouTube. I'll try to find a link to that and put it underneath this video. Because I've been sleeping on a grounding mat for a really long time, and I just replaced one that I had about 2 years ago. I replaced it with one that covers the entire mattress. The one I had before was one that just covered my side of the bed. And my husband is fine with them, but I'm the one who's really, really interested. And you can't feel it underneath the bottom sheet. But to me, I think this helps with a good night's sleep and reducing inflammation and all of that stuff. And to me, it's an easy way to get some grounding using modern technology, right? And then the last one I wrote down here is something I talked about last week to help improve your mood immediately, and that is breath work. I think that guided breath work especially, in fact, I will put a link below this video for an 11-minute Wim Hof guided breath work that will give, like if you do this every morning, one of your little morning routine biohacking things, I think it will make a huge difference in the way that you feel, the way that your body expresses health, and the way you walk through life and either age super fast or you can make the aging process slow down. So I would love to hear what you think of each of these things that I covered. I think there's a lot of other things that we can do as far as biohacking, but I also think that there are so many lifestyle things like eating less and eating really consciously. I think we eat so subconsciously, and we not only have 3 meals a day, but we are encouraged to snack in between. This is something that stopped the snacking in between. That stopped resonating with me many, many years ago because it just felt like I just felt like I was heavy, like I just didn't feel good in my body. So when you take out the snacking, and again, this is where I preface this, everybody is a little bit different. If someone has a really hard time putting on weight and they're super, super active, they might need to be snacking all throughout the day. If you're an athlete and you're burning 10,000 calories a day because you're training for the Olympics, then yeah, you might be needing to eat the whole time that you're awake. There are different, everyone's a little bit different. I think for the average normal human being that is healthy and doesn't have, some serious issues, we can really take a look at the food that we eat or the food that we don't eat. And we can take our feeding window down to a smaller size than it is right now. We don't need to be eating a bowl of cereal right before we go to bed. And I have people that say, well, it helps me sleep better. Well, you know what? If you're healthy and that is a habit that you're doing, it might even be a bowl of ice cream or, I think that eating right before we go to bed for most normal adults is not the smartest thing. Now, if you disagree with that, maybe your situation's different. Let me know what you think. I think that this is an really interesting time to pay attention and really look at all the cool tools we have to hack our biology. It's a good time to do that. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Subscribe if you're not. Give me a thumbs up. Most of all, I'd love to hear your comments. So have a great day, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.